Awesome. Thank you, Erin. So in full disclosure, Erin used to do some work for me. This is how she reached out to me. I started Colorado's first food tour company in 2008. So a little nutty to start a luxury discretionary spending business in the worst economy in 30 years, but happy to say that Culinary Connectors is 12 years old, so we're still moving forward. It's changed a little bit, not just because of COVID, but I used to do tours to the general public. We used to take groups to 3 or 4 restaurants in 2 or 3 hours is what we did. So that's how I got to know the hospitality and the culinary group here in Denver so well. I've done tours all over the country, Aspen, Boston, are some of the places that I've done tours. So I was very knee deep in it. I had a radio show for 2.5 years where I interviewed chefs, bartenders, anybody in the food and beverage industry. So very knee deep into that. And then a few years ago, from that, I started a marketing company where I focused my energies on working with restaurants and bars in the hospitality industry. And then I decided to go back into corporate America because I was tired of the revenue roller coaster of owning my business, working with restaurants who wanted to pay me in steak. But unfortunately, my landlord didn't accept that as a payment. So I needed something that was a little bit more consistent in revenue. I still love the hospitality industry. Matter of fact, I just sat for my wine and spirit education level 3 wine certification. So that was on the 13th of December. So I won't find out for a couple of months. Erin had also mentioned that I do have a lot of experience of living with an alcoholic. My father actually died from alcoholism, and he went through rehab 3 times, and it took 6, 12 months, and then he would be back to drinking. And so I definitely have that experience and have played the what if game. What if my dad wasn't an alcoholic? What if this? What if that? So definitely have a lot of that experience. I would say it also had me question my value. Am I valuable? What am I doing? What can I do to be valuable for people to want to keep me around? And I think a lot of that came from just growing up in that environment with my dad. On the flip side, I had a very strong and loving mother. So there were some very positives that came out of it. So I will say the day my relationship changed with my father was the day I stopped having expectations other than that he loved me. And that was a huge thing for me. And that happened in college. And from that point on, I had a very good relationship with my father because I didn't expect him to not drink anymore. And so that was a big epiphany for me. With regard to depression, I am, and I think Erin can attest to this, I am a type A, glass half full, let's go, we can do this. I am that person. I've been in sales my entire career. I worked my way through college in telephone sales. So in February of 2018, I was in a hit and run accident. February, it will be 3 years in February. My car was heading southbound and the guy hit me so hard my car was facing eastbound by the time the accident was over. He said he was going 35 or 40, who knows. Long story short, I had a really bad concussion. I was knocked out. And after 15 months of vestibular therapy, which I refer to as brain camp, my doctor finally cleared me. But that 15 months was hell. And not just for me, it was also for my family and my friends. My mom was constantly worried about me. And after a couple of months of recovering from a concussion, you should be recovered. And I was not. I had damage to my autonomic system. I still have damage to it. So I have sometimes your autonomic system manages your involuntary system. And so what will happen is if I don't eat, I know this is a very unpopular thing. If I don't eat carbs, I crash. And what I mean by that is I get so lightheaded. I can't put words together. I word search. I have to lay down. I get really, really lightheaded. I don't get dizzy. Thank God I never got dizzy. But I know what triggers it now. And so I just have to be really conscientious of it. So no keto, no paleo, no intermittent fasting for me. Um, and those are things I used to do before the accident, because I'm very much into health and food. And I think probably about 6 months into my vestibular therapy, I was just questioning if I was ever going to get better. I couldn't even go for a walk without feeling like I was going to pass out. And for somebody who I would work out 5 or 6 days a week. I was very active. I did whatever I wanted to. And then you're faced with this. And I think the other thing that was really frustrating and really, I think, contributed to will I ever get better is there was nobody that really directed my health. I had to be the one to direct my health. And I don't know, Erin, if you experienced that as well, but I saw probably 5 different doctors in 15 months. And all of those doctors in some form or fashion helped. But, even after 12 months and I'm still not better, it was, I just, I got depressed. And for me to be depressed, I think is really takes a lot, because I never knew if my life was going to get back to where it was. Would I ever be able to do the things that I really enjoyed doing? And I was just dating this guy that eventually wanted to marry me. So it was a roller coaster ride for him as well. And that's, I think that's a lot to ask of somebody as you're starting out into a new relationship. And, it's just staring off into space and wondering what is going to happen. Is this the rest of my life? Right. I'm 53. I'm not that old. And it was hard. And I think the thing that got me back to, and to my normal self or my regular self was just really focusing on just constantly going after my improving my health and trying to get better and talking to anybody that I could and to find out. I should have written a blog about my journey to help other people, quite frankly, because it's not easy to find help out there when you have such a traumatic brain injury, when there's so much disparate information out there. And I think the day that I had after my exertion therapy, so there are a lot of different therapies, but one of the I did was an exertion therapy. And because what happened with the autonomic system is my brain and my heart got out of sync, which is why I would get really lightheaded. And so I did this exertion therapy. And after about 7 months, I finally was back to a point where I could work out without feeling, or even go for a walk without feeling like I was going to pass out. And I swear to God, I wanted to throw a party. I was so excited. And because your therapy has to be on a treadmill, because you have to be able to regulate the speed and the incline and all of that. And I'm like, oh my God, my heart rate's over 150 and I'm not going to pass out. And I think just dealing with that, having a lot of support from my family and friends helped. And I would also say being able to talk to people without shame. I'm just like, this is who I am. This is what I'm going through. And I'm mad as hell. This fucking sucks. And I don't want to do this. Why is this happening to me? And it's kind of the same thing. Like I can equate a little bit to the what if with my dad. Like, why is this happening to me? And that isn't, it's for me, a victim stance is not a healthy place to try to work through what you're going through. And so through a lot of other help, one of the things is one of my mantras is you give everything the meaning that it has. And so then I had to try to look at what's the positive that is coming out of this. And that was helpful, because being an Energizer bunny and a type A, having this accident definitely made me sit down. Like, I didn't have a choice. So I think that's, and being able to really reach out to people is really helpful, was very helpful. That's why I think this organization is just amazing. And so that's my story. I hope it was helpful.